South Korea's rain disaster. Historic flooding strikes Geoje.
저 앞에도 떠내려가네, 지금.
Residents across Geoje Island, South Korea, faced an extraordinary natural disaster after nearly 2 days of relentless rainfall triggered widespread flooding, overflowing rivers, and major disruptions to daily life. What began as heavy rain quickly escalated into one of the most severe weather events many locals had ever witnessed. By the morning of August 17, emergency alerts were continuously being sent to mobile phones as authorities warned residents about dangerous flooding. Across the island, roads disappeared beneath rising water, rivers overflowed, and neighborhoods struggled to cope with the rapidly worsening conditions. The rainfall totals were remarkable. Some areas recorded more than 800 millimeters of rain, including 814.7 millimeters over 2 days. During the most intense period, rainfall reached 124 millimeters per hour, overwhelming drainage systems and causing floodwaters to rise quickly throughout the city. In Okpo, one resident said floodwaters left the area temporarily isolated. Roads became impossible to cross, preventing the person from checking on a nearby shop. Emergency warnings continued through the night, making sleep difficult as residents monitored the situation. Despite the anxiety, the resident later said there was no serious damage to the business and no injuries nearby. In Jangpyeong, residents watched water levels rise around apartment complexes and parking areas. Concerns grew as floodwaters approached parked vehicles.
와. 소설.
Some residents prepared to move their cars to safer locations, while others joined neighbors in efforts to keep water from entering key areas. Their actions reportedly helped reduce damage in parts of the complex. The severe weather also affected essential services. One resident reported that a friend lost access to gas, electricity, and water during the storm. Although some neighborhoods escaped the worst impacts, many longtime residents described the event as unlike anything they had seen in decades. Several said they had never experienced a disaster of this scale in more than 30 years of living in Geoje. Geoje-myeon was among the hardest hit areas. Powerful flood currents swept through low-lying districts as rivers overflowed and water surged across roads. Residents reported seeing a large container carried away by floodwaters, while vehicles were pushed from their original positions. Some cars were reportedly swept away entirely as torrents rushed toward the sea. Local rivers reached dangerous levels. The Geoje-myeon River overflowed after continuous rainfall, creating a high risk of flooding in surrounding communities. Residents also reported unprecedented conditions along the Geoje-myeon River, describing water levels and flow rates they had never witnessed before. Authorities urged people living near rivers to remain alert and avoid unnecessary outdoor activities. Transportation was severely disrupted. National Route 5 in the Suwol area, one of Geoje's main roadways, was submerged by floodwater. The flooding affected traffic flow and limited movement across parts of the island. Several other roads were also inundated, making travel difficult for residents, emergency crews, and visitors. Videos recorded by local residents showed dramatic scenes across Geoje. Streets became waterways, parking lots disappeared beneath muddy water, and commercial districts experienced significant flooding. In Jangpyeong, floodwaters covered roads near local businesses, disrupting traffic and daily activities. Visitors traveling for business also documented flooded streets in real time as conditions deteriorated. Underground facilities were especially vulnerable. Reports indicated that a basement parking area at Jangpyeong Nonghyup was flooded, while roads near the main entrance suffered visible damage from rushing water. Residents expressed concern not only about property losses, but also about the possibility of casualties if rainfall continued. After nearly 2 days of non-stop rain, water levels gradually began to fall in some locations. However, the storm left behind damaged infrastructure, debris, and widespread cleanup efforts. The disaster served as a reminder of how quickly extreme weather can transform familiar streets and neighborhoods into dangerous flood zones. For many residents, the most shocking aspect of the event was the speed at which conditions changed. Roads that were usable one evening became impassable by the next morning, while rivers overflowed and floodwaters spread through residential and commercial areas.